Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty cool, a student invention that completely reimagines an object we all use, the umbrella. Yep, they've turned it into this super smart, multifunctional gadget for the modern world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. And I'm pretty sure you've been here before. You're walking home, it starts pouring rain, it's getting dark, and then, boom, that dreaded low battery warning flashes on your phone. It's just the worst, right? Such a common frustration.
And what happens next? Well, you start this ridiculous juggling act. You've got the umbrella in one hand, trying to stay dry, then you're fumbling with your phone, trying to use its flashlight to see, and on top of all that, you've got a power bank somewhere on your bag to keep the phone from dying completely. It's a mess. Super clumsy and just not efficient at all.
But here's the cool part. A group of junior high school students looked at that exact problem and didn't just see an inconvenience. Nope, they saw an opportunity. They decided to tackle it head-on and engineer a solution that's both simple and, honestly, pretty elegant by completely reinventing the good old umbrella.
And this is what they came up with, the Umbrelight. Pretty clever name, right? It's their answer to that whole chaotic juggling mess we were talking about. It's an all-in-one tool built from the ground up for convenience, for practicality, and maybe most importantly, for safety.
You know, the real genius here is how they integrated everything. It still does what an umbrella is supposed to do, right? It protects you from the rain and sun, but they seamlessly added two other things we all need, a way to charge your devices and a flashlight, all in one package.
And this wasn't just some random flash of inspiration idea. These students were methodical. They used a really smart design philosophy called human-centered design. What does that mean? Well, it means they started by thinking about people. Real users with real problems, like their classmates walking home late or maybe someone working a night shift. They designed this thing specifically to solve their problems.
Okay, so the idea is brilliant, no doubt, but how do you go from a great idea to an actual physical thing that works? Let's break down how they actually built this thing. First things first, they had to build a power source, the heart of the Umbrelight. They took these 2200 milliamp hour batteries and basically built a power bank from scratch. They taped them together, added aluminum strips to conduct the electricity, and then soldered all the wires to get the positive and negative connections right. And of course, they tested the whole circuit to make sure it actually worked before moving on.
All right, with the power bank ready, it was time for the tricky part, putting it all together. They took off the umbrella's original handle, wired up an LED light, and then, and this is the really clever bit, they packed all the electronics into a brand new custom-made handle. The power bank, the light, the charging port, the whole shebang. Then they just securely attached that new handle onto the umbrella. Done.
So they built it. It looks great. But that's only half the battle, right? The big question is, does it work? Does it do what it's supposed to do out in the real world? Well, the students put their creation to the test to find out.
Test number one, and probably the most important one, the charging. Could this thing actually reliably charge a smartphone? Let's see.
And the results? Yeah, pretty promising. Over a 3-hour period, it managed to boost a phone's battery by anywhere from 39 to 50%. Now, like the students said themselves, it's not fast, but reliable. And honestly, in a pinch, when your phone's about to die, reliable is exactly what you're looking for.
Okay, check. The charger works. So what about the other big feature? How good was that built-in flashlight when things got dark?
9 meters. That's how far the flashlight could consistently light up. To put that in perspective, that's almost 30 feet. That is absolutely more than enough range to see where you're going in the dark.
And yeah, reading through their notes, they said the light was plenty bright enough to light up a path or even a small room. So it's perfect for that late night walk home or if you find yourself in a blackout. All right, one last crucial test, the endurance test. How long does the battery actually last? How long can it keep charging your phone or powering that light before it gives out?
3 hours. That was the answer. The test showed it could provide steady power for a full 3 hours, whether you were charging your phone or using the light. After that, it's time for a recharge. Pretty solid.
So when you put it all together, what do we have? It's a seriously impressive project, right? So what's next for the Umbrelight? Where could this idea go in the future?
Well, the students summed it up perfectly. They proved their concept works. The Umbrelight isn't just a gimmick. It's a genuinely useful and practical tool that makes life a little safer by combining those key features. And yeah, it definitely has the potential to be something much bigger.
And you gotta love this. They're not even done thinking about it. They've already laid out a roadmap for an Umbrelight 2.0.
They're talking about a bigger battery, making the electronics more waterproof, which is pretty important for an umbrella, right? And finding ways to make it tougher and cheaper to build.
You know, what this whole project really shows is that amazing, game-changing ideas don't always come from massive tech companies. Sometimes they come from a group of students who just see a problem in their daily lives and get curious enough to try and fix it. And that really just leaves one final thought for you to chew on. What's an everyday object you use that's just begging for a brilliant new upgrade?